Now this is the most important piece of what the mattress industry today is made of. Very important that you know this information, and literally I could talk to you about this for an hour. I'm going to try to make this as brief as possible. I started making my own mattresses just about 2 years after I got into the business. I got sick of selling the big brand name mattresses because they didn't last. So I started making my own mattresses, which I'm going to tell you about in another video. But 8 months after I started making my own mattresses, the Consumer Product Safety Commission came out with new regulations requiring mattresses to be flame retardant. Now that sounds like a nice idea. They're going to save us from mattress fires, right? They're looking out for the consumer. That's false. They are not looking out for the consumer. And I'm going to show that to you. I'm going to do it very briefly. If you want some definitive information, go watch my mattress education video. Go to the top of the web page, click on resources, and then mattress education, and watch that whole video. It's over an hour long, yes, but I give you definitive information. I'm going to give you a quick overview. Now, when the Consumer Product Safety Commission came out with new regulations, they did a risk assessment of the chemicals they know the mattress industry is going to be using to meet the flame standard. And I have a copy of their report. It says, potential health effects from the use of fire retardant chemicals in mattresses. Now in this report, they list the chemicals, and I'm going to read to you what it says. The first chemical here says ammonium polyphosphate. And it says here, there's no available data on subchronic or chronic exposures, pharmacokinetics, carcinogenity, reproductive, developmental, or neurological effects. In other words, the mattress industry could be using this chemical and they don't know how it's going to affect your health. That's reassuring, isn't it? The next chemical is antimony trioxide. Notice it says here, antimony trioxide would be considered toxic under the Federal Hazardous Substances Act. They're admitting to it's toxic. Well, antimony is heavy metal and it's more toxic than mercury. And it could be in a mattress you buy. The next one here is boric acid. Now, boric acid is probably the least toxic of all the chemicals that could be used. It may be the most used chemical. I don't know that, but I suspect it may be the most used chemical. It's typically used in conjunction with silica to meet the flame standard. And these companies that will use the silica will tell you they use a natural flame barrier that consists of wool. Well, wool burns. They're putting in the wool the silica and the boric acid. They don't tell you about the other pieces. It just works in conjunction with the wool. But anyway, notice here it says boric acid meets the definition of toxic under the Federal Hazardous Substances Act. Well, boric acid is commonly used as roach killer. So this roach killer is the least toxic of the chemicals that could be used. Notice the next one, it says decabromodiphenyl oxide. It's called DECA for short, but notice it says decabromodiphenyl oxide meets the definition of toxic by virtue of its chronic organ system toxicity. It's chronically toxic to your organs. Specifically, it destroys your thyroid. Watch my longer video and I'll show you some evidence of that. Next chemical is melamine. If you'll remember 10-12 years ago, the pet food coming from China that was killing the pets, it was discovered it was melamine in the pet food. Notice it says melamine is considered acutely toxic. The next one is vinylidene chloride, and it says vinylidene chloride is considered toxic under the Federal Hazardous Substances Act based on the system toxicity is from subchronic and chronic exposures. So they're admitting to it's toxic. Now, they're claiming, though these chemicals are toxic, there's not enough in the mattresses to harm you, and it stays bound to the materials in the mattresses and doesn't get into your body. Well, I have enough experience to know that that is false. I'm going to give you a quick overview. A woman contacted me from Illinois. Her name is Rachel. And she says she has permanent neurological damage from the antimony in her mattress. Now, when she contacted me, she said she had her mattress tested for antimony and it was positive. And she told me all about her health issues. But she had no quantitative value as to how much antimony was in the mattress. Well, she kept the mattress because she was convinced the mattress was making her sick, and if she could prove it, she was going to sue the mattress company. So she kept her evidence. She put it in a storage facility, paying rent to store it, and kept it. she told me all of this, and I said, can you send me a sample piece of your mattress so I can have it tested to find out how much antimony is in it? And I sent it off to a lab. I sent it to Polymer Solutions here in Christiansburg, Virginia, and they did a test. I have a copy of the results. What is considered safe levels of antimony is 0.5 parts per million. Exposure of a material that has 0.5 parts per million is still safe. Well, this report shows that her mattress has, you'll notice here, 757 parts per million. In other words, it has 3,500 times the level of antimony that is considered safe. No wonder Rachel has permanent neurological damage, because remember I told you that antimony is more toxic than mercury. It destroys your neurological system. Now, that's just one example. I got numerous examples. Go watch my full-length video where I go through all this. The Consumer Product Safety Commission didn't do this to make mattresses flame retardant. They did it to make the chemical industry rich. If they were looking out for the consumer, they would have regulated how much chemicals are used. They did not. If they were looking out for the consumer, they would have put on the law label what chemicals in it. Let's say, for example, you're allergic to formaldehyde. Wouldn't you like to know the mattress you're buying has formaldehyde in it? By the way, I had a man come in my store who bought a big brand name Tempur-Pedic mattress. They delivered it to his house. He never even slept on it. Just the smells coming from the Tempur-Pedic mattress made him sick. And he told me, he goes, the response he's getting from the mattress is the same response he gets when he's exposed to formaldehyde. He knows he's allergic to formaldehyde. And I said, his name was Mr. Poole. I said, Mr. Poole, as a matter of fact, formaldehyde is a commonly used flame retardant chemical. He goes, well, that's what's in that mattress because I know my symptoms. Now, I can say this about Tempur-Pedic because there is a class action lawsuit against Tempur-Pedic in Texas for the volatile organic compounds and formaldehyde in their mattresses. Now, the Consumer Product Safety Commission should have regulated on the law label. You know, if you buy a mattress, it's got a little law label. It tells you if it's made of polyurethane foam, if it's made of latex, if it's got horsehair in it, if it's got silk in it, cotton, you have to be listed. Well, they could have easily required manufacturers to list what chemicals they use. Well, they want to keep it a secret. They don't want the consumer to know that they're sleeping in chemicals that they could easily look up and find out they're toxic. They're not looking out for the consumer. They're looking out for the chemical industry. Now, I expand on this a great deal in my full-length video. I want to give you another example of a chemical problem of one of the customers that contacted me. A woman from Texas contacted me, bought a mattress for her 7-year-old daughter, and she started into puberty at age 7, full puberty. She went to her doctor. Her doctor said, you know, it's something in her environment. You're going to have to do the process of elimination to figure out what she's being exposed to. It didn't take long. The woman thought maybe the mattress had something to do with it. So she got her daughter an organic mattress, and fortunately the puberty reversed itself. But when she contacted me, she had found an article by the National Institutes of Health, and she shared it with me. Notice it says 3D images show flame retardants can mimic estrogens in an NIH study. By determining the three-dimensional structure of proteins at the atomic level, researchers at the National Institutes of Health have discovered how some commonly used flame retardants called brominated, remember I told you brominated affects your thyroid? Flame retardants can mimic estrogen hormones and possibly disrupt the body's endocrine system. No wonder her daughter started into puberty. Now, I could tell you stories all day long of people telling me they've gotten sick from mattresses. You do not want mattresses that are got chemicals in them. This is what we specialize in, and I'm going to elaborate on that when I talk about what we do. This is the mattress industry today. They bought and paid for the Consumer Product Safety Commission to create regulations that benefit them and benefit the chemical industry. So, do you want one of these mattresses? No, you do not. I hope you enjoyed watching it. If you like more definitive information, go to the top of the web page, click on resources, and then watch my mattress education video. It's over an hour long. It will give you definitive information on what I'm just sharing. I'm just giving you a rough draft right now. Thank you for watching.